What is going on, everybody? This is episode 123 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. As usual, I feel disheveled and out of sorts, wondering if I've screwed up anything on the road to getting this podcast off the ground each and every day. But it doesn't seem so, so as long as things are going well, let's just keep going forward. I'm here with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Mary.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing quite well, thank you.
What's got you feeling quite well today?
Law and Order.
Oh yeah, there is we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Oddly enough, I don't know if that's what you're even referring to, but we got topics that involve law and order today.
Disorder. I love chaos.
Well,
evil, hate.
That's just,
anger.
That's not good, man. That's not good. We've got a couple of topics today as far as entertainment involving trying to curb or add to law and order, but it doesn't seem that those bills will get through. One did, one didn't, but we will get into that. We have a guest host today. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Hannah Claire Brimlow. I'm a writer for timcast.com.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We are. Well, she's doing great, apparently, right? Yes,
yeah.
Yes, and I'm still disheveled and out of sorts, but
you
getting
don't look disheveled though. Your hat and sweater.
You're
are
good
very
at hiding
coordinated.
it, Brett.
Well, it's
don't worry about it.
Yeah. You're supposed to fake it till you make it, right? That's what you're supposed to do.
I think you just are not disheveled. You just feel chaotic.
Well, okay, then I feel chaotic. Right now. Did you get your article done today?
I did. I hope everyone Googles what's going on with the census because
Is this like a longer article than usual?
It's a longer. It's like about 1,000 words. And I think everyone should check it out. So it's on the site right now. You can go to timcast.com, click on the read tab.
That's perfect. That was a perfect intro right there.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today as we settle in. Dave Chappelle is going to finally see justice done for the man who attacked him. Unfortunately, it's just not for the crime he attacked Dave Chappelle for.
Right.
That's a problem. We've got, two bills that I thought were fascinating that involve entertainment. It's not politics per se. It's entertainment. One involving the policing of rap lyrics as far as how they can be prosecuted in a court of law, and the other one involving firearms kind of regulation on Hollywood sets, obviously related to the Rush shooting. And then we've got my favorite story, which is one of the Red Power Ranger goes on a heel turn that's only equatable to that of like Tommy Oliver when he went bad for those 5 episodes in the early Power Ranger series. So we're going to talk about that. We got Podluck. We got a bunch of other stuff. So if you ladies are ready to go, just say the word and we will get started.
Word.
What is the word?
That you just said it. You just said it right there. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but you just said the word right there. So here it is. Dave Chappelle attacker charged with attempted murder for allegedly stabbing roommate last year. And this is strange, given the fact that you would think
You would think that someone who stabs people would not be walking free.
Yeah.
But he was, and then he did it again. But like now we know this guy's weapon of choice.
A bayonet.
He I don't know if
was it a bayonet the first time?
No, I'm just joking.
That
'cause
would
it
be
was
hilarious
like
if
a
it
knife
was.
taped to the top of a fake gun. Like of all things in the world.
It was actually built that way. It had the retractable.
Yeah, still
thing.
very bizarre to me.
It is, yeah.
I do like the idea of him going to like a gun store and being like, I don't really need a gun, I need a bayonet.
Yeah.
Like, and they're just like, well, there's a
He
a
likes
civil.
close
he goes in
quarters
and he's like, you
fighting.
guys don't understand. I'm a stabber. I need something to stab with.
So his name is Isaiah Lee, and it says the crazed man accused of attacking comedian Dave Chappelle on stage during a Los Angeles show earlier this month has been charged with attempted murder for allegedly stabbing his roommate in December. So not earlier this month, back in December. It says Isaiah Lee, 23, was busted Thursday in connection with the fight with his roommate in a transitional housing facility on December 2nd, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office has
So
announced.
this guy was in a halfway house and
Yeah.
stabbed his roommate.
Yep, and he got out, that's a problem, you know. Like, we have the catch. It's basically like you arrest him, yeah, they get let off on charges, and then the same thing happened with Chappelle because everyone's like, maybe he should be charged with a felony. I don't know, like attack with a deadly weapon. I can't think of a deadly weapon more deadly. The only thing more deadly than a fake gun with a knife attached to it would be a real gun, right? So is that not a deadly
I
weapon?
don't know. Either one are deadly. Someone
feel
could
like-
miss you with a gun, but if someone stabs you, like you're definitely bleeding.
I think there's actually like studies that show that people are like more afraid of knives than they are of guns
Well,
because you're
stabbings
like,
are on the rise, especially in certain countries. I mean, we're joking about knife crimes, but they're like actually extremely serious.
I remember there was like an old it's not funny, but there was like they showed like a bust in like a like in England, like in Britain, like they had like a drug and weapons bust, and it was like kitchen knives and stuff like that. Because
if you say it's not funny, it's funny. I'm sorry, that's funny.
It's funny. They're like, look, we got all these butter knives away from these people. Who knows what kind of damage could have been done?
Also, like you could turn a lot of things into a sharp blade, whereas it's harder to turn things into guns.
He might have learned that in prison.
Let me ask though.
I have no idea if he's been in prison.
This guy stabbed his roommate in the halfway house.
Yes.
And then they were like, well, that was close enough. We'll let you go. Like, why is he out and about?
The funny thing about this is they say they literally say that Dave Chappelle is the reason they're able to prosecute on this now because of the attention that was given to him.
They lost him and then they found him?
It says the DA's office said that the victims identified Lee as his attacker after the suspect gained significant media attention following the onstage confrontation with Chappelle at the Hollywood Bowl earlier this month. So Chappelle can at least take solace in the fact that his attempted mauling was enough to bring him to justice for another crime.
Wait. So the halfway house doesn't have records of who lives with who.
I know, right?
What if
so the halfway house was like, who stabbed you? And the guy was like, the guy who lives with me. And they're all like, we don't know who that is.
What if this is like the Me Too of people who have been stabbed by this man, and there are more who are waiting to come forward?
They're going to come out of the woodwork.
I understand. He was living in a transitional facility that didn't know who he was.
How is that possible?
You should have.
Did he live in Portland?
That it's very no. I think they say,
like I would understood it. They were like he was at large after the stabbing in this place where he lived with this guy. But it sounds like instead the guy was like, oh yeah, he did stab me. It was that guy.
Maybe this guy is like a glory hound, and he's like, yeah, that was the guy that stabbed me, and he's actually just looking for his nudge nudge. He's looking for his 15 minutes of fame by blaming this guy. And this guy
he has a really like specific. We live together in this place, and like, they probably have records of his injury.
And Isaiah Lee, like he said that like the reason he did it was because he wanted to bring like attention to the gentrification problem that like pushed his mother out of her house. So they like
Dave Chappelle is your target.
What does that have to do with anything?
Does anybody know? We have
like
no idea.
That's when people are like, "Well, I did this because I'm actually trying to do a social justice point."
Like, yeah, that's what he was doing.
Can you just admit like that you're unhinged and you wanted to hurt?
That's
somebody?
the thing. He probably doesn't realize he's unhinged, right? Like the unhinged don't usually know.
You know what?
I like the idea that he's just like, you know what? I'm just a bad guy.
I'm just a villain.
I would find that hilarious and refreshing.
That would be pretty cool. If someone's just like, you know what? I'm the bad guy here. Like, I'm fine. Let's.
The thing is, like,
prosecute.
Serial killers do that all the time.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, I'm just evil. Yeah. Catch me if you can.
Well, this guy is not the cool. Wait, no. Who did we see yesterday get like Armie Hammer got compared to Charles Manson? I'm like, really?
Crazy.
Is he really?
Comparison. I feel like that's not accurate.
We don't have a modern comparison because DNA exists.
Well, we have Jared Leto in his cult.
like that's a cult situation. Like Armie Hammer, wouldn't you compare him to like what? Somebody else who ate people?
But he didn't even eat people. That's the funniest
Mary,
part.
I'm sorry. I know this is one of your like key points in life.
I will harp on this.
Did not eat people. But like, as if you're gonna make a comparison, if that's the thing he was like accused of considering doing, shouldn't you then also compare him to a cannibal?
I did not
instead
barbecue that woman.
That's exactly what it is. He's like, he will be the
tasteful episode.
Yeah, we're off to a
fantastic start. So it says.
So what happens to our friend Isaiah Lee now?
So he goes back to court on June 2nd, if I remember correctly at the end of the article, but we'll come back up to it. So it says he was charged with 4 misdemeanors, including battery, possessing a deadly weapon with intent to assault, and unauthorized access to the stage area during performance and commission of an act that delays the event or interferes with the performance. So they got him for ruining Dave Chappelle's act, and that's about it.
LA has a law that if you interrupt a live performance, you're in trouble.
You are in, like, I mean, you had a deadly weapon, but it's really the fact that Chappelle didn't get to hit his punchline that is the problem here.
All of the ticket holders are seeing justice. It's not that they watched someone attack Dave Chappelle; it's that their experience was disrupted.
It's the Astro World of Dave Chappelle concerts.
Astro
Wow, this is getting distasteful. This is awful.
That one was too far for me.
A little bit, yeah. So, LA City Deputy Attorney Giselle Fernandez said that during the hearing, said that during the hearing that Lee had several prior run-ins with the law, including a battery charge that was reduced to disturbing the peace. in a charge in San Bernardino. Here I am not being able to read again. That's I'm not being able to read. So this is a recurring theme of like, you charge them with something lesser than what they were initially arrested for, and then they end up getting out and then continuing to cause problems. So I don't know if there's a way to solve this other than actually prosecuting them for what they were supposed to be arrested for and trying to actually lock them up. Not that I'm a huge fan of the state, but what do you do? The
thing is, like, this guy is a serial menace at this point.
Do you guys think that this guy has been, like, treated, do you think he's gotten more leeway because he attacked someone that people hate? Like, just straight up.
You mean like Chappelle?
Like that guy,
or the roommate.
Not his roommate.
Everyone
but maybe
hates
his
the
roommate is a public enemy also. But like Dave Chappelle.
Well, it's interesting to me because normally you would think in these cases that they would only seek justice for the celebrity, but it's not the celebrity getting justice in this case. It's the person with no viable public persona who's getting justice on behalf of because the celebrity existed.
With Chappelle, it was like what I would consider to be an attempted murder.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely was. I don't know
also why. Probably also his roommate experienced attempted murder, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't understand. I don't know a ton about assault law.
What's the disconnect here?
I don't know a ton about assault law, but like at what point when you are attacking someone with a weapon does it at any point become anything other than?
Well, he had the knife here, but he didn't raise it up like this, like the movie Psycho, so we can't actually prosecute him
for
that.
But he just wanted to sort of poke me with it. He didn't actually mean to kill me?
And like, does Dave Chappelle have anything to say about this? I feel like he's gonna come up with such a good set.
I want him to hire the
after
roommate.
this.
He was frustrated. I didn't pull up the article, but he was frustrated that the guy wasn't charged with a felony. A lot of people believe that it's because people like beat the dude down after they got him off Chappelle, so they went easy on him because two of the people that were there, and I already forget who it was, but two of his celebrities you've heard of before.
Jamie Foxx and
I forget who the other one
was. It wasn't Chris Rock, was it?
No. that would be too meta.
That would be crazy.
No, maybe it was. I have no idea.
But Chris Rock was there, right?
Yeah. So to me, it's like now whenever I hear Jamie Foxx, I want to do that impression he does where he goes, Jamie's a patriot, like from that interview that people keep reposting now. People desperate for approval of people.
I don't think that this guy's treatment is necessarily... I just don't get why he was in charge with the felony. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me.
You would think that they would
even if he did get beaten up after, like, then make Jamie Foxx face charges, right?
You would think that they would want him to be prosecuted on behalf of the celebrities who want to feel safe while performing there, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that makes no sense to me. But this is California, so things don't have to make sense on a regular basis.
I saw there's some audio, like, of a reposted TikTok I listened to, and it was like, people in California are living in a different country.
Yeah.
But they're like showing all
that's exactly what Katy Perry was saying.
But they were like,
Hollywood is not America.
They're like posting all these like, oh, it's such a cute place to take Instagram pictures and look at this fun, like whatever. And in my mind, I'm just thinking of like everything else that we know about California. I was like, yeah, but it's not a country I want to live in. Like whatever's happening there is like,
it's for buying and selling things pretty much.
There's a whole I found a whole like list of photos of people taking, it's like pictures of like really nice cars passing by like tent camps. And it's like, if nothing could describe California more perfectly, it's that. If anything could describe.
I was listening to this podcast and they're interviewing someone from San Francisco and he was like, I'm from the greatest city on earth, San Francisco. And I remember when I was there and I watched someone shoot up and then someone else like relieve himself on the ground. And I was like, the best city, the greatest city on earth.
Yeah.
Where you buy like double insole shoes so that you don't get a crack needle through the bottom of your foot.
I like could not
with hepatitis.
I felt really bad because like I'm glad you like where you're from, sir, but like I think that you have a misunderstanding of what greatest city on earth means.
Yeah.
It says Lee was also arrested for assault with a deadly weapon in 2018 and for felony larceny in New York in 2015. So the common denominator here, New York, California, constantly getting released. Who could have foreseen this?
Like
who could have known that this was going to happen?
Here. There might be some sort of connection.
But like, what's the answer? Because it's not going to get any better. Like,
the
law enforcement isn't going to get any better. The criminal justice system, you can't predict that.
I weirdly feel like we're waiting for Isaiah Lee to go to a state that would prosecute him and commit another attack, which is like
Texas
or like I don't know what Nevada's laws are like something. If he's in California, something close by, Arizona maybe, but like that seems like a very high risk for California to be like, well, if someone else could just put him in jail, that'd be great, because we don't want to.
And the residents of Texas are like, really? Do I have to go out wearing like padded armor until one of these
Dave
people
Chappelle
gets caught?
is in Ohio. Like, I love it here. Somebody protect me.
Like the guy's gonna eventually have to be prosecuted, but it's like it's not gonna end up being for the one with Chappelle, and that's fascinating to me because I feel like 10 years ago the crime against Chappelle would have been the one that would have been taken seriously, and everybody else would have been kind of like, whatever, you don't matter. Chappelle matters because he brings revenue.
Well, it seems like this guy's whole, I mean, for a long time now, everyone has been like, we'll let you go on this one. We'll let it slide. It's like, how many times does he have to attack someone before we're like, hey, this person has a problem?
And it does say in the scuffle, security broke Lee's arm, which put him in the hospital following the incident. Maybe that's why.
In the scuffle after he
attacked
It's funny
on
that
stage
they're
with a deadly
gonna go
weapon.
attack him after the attack is already over instead of preventing him from jumping Dave Chappelle in the first place.
The security was like, well, I didn't do my job to start, so I better finish strong, so they
Right?
don't remember that
Like,
I just let him
what?
get through and attack Dave.
And why is that Jamie Foxx's responsibility?
Well, there's-
like, I'm so confused.
That's the best part, that Jamie Foxx is like, here's my moment.
and that's like terrifying to think about him just like bounding over to you.
He's like, not on my watch.
Clenched.
He's like, I played an FBI agent in the Miami Vice movie.
I know my
I
stuff.
know my stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to... Oh, sorry, he wasn't an FBI agent. He played a local police officer in that, so he knows how to beat people up. So that's apparently what happened there. I don't know how I feel about it, other than it's like, it just seems like play stupid games, win stupid prizes when you keep releasing people who have not just like a history, but a consistent history. It's not like he did one thing in 2009 and then they're like, well, we couldn't have seen this coming. That doesn't make any sense. This is like every couple of years this keeps happening, and they're like, why is he still free to
What
attack
you're
people?
saying can be turned around on you, Brett. Like, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, Dave Chappelle, you're making jokes that people feel that angry about, then you're going to win the stupid prize, you're going to get attacked.
But this guy, like,
I don't
some
really
people
think
genuinely feel that way. I don't.
Don't think
but,
that's like applicable. I think like
Place-
Dave Chappelle isn't playing a game. He's doing his job. And like this game that the federal corrections or like federal justice system is playing, which is like, well, we'll just roll the dice and see if this time our lesser sentence rehabilitates this guy who's clearly not being rehabilitated. In fact, I would argue that his crimes in some way show a pattern of escalation, right?
Yeah.
To like knowingly attack someone who's on stage in front of witnesses, who's being recorded, like with the roommate scuffle, that's serious, right? But I don't know the circumstances. They could be in the room, got out of hand, like still not okay, but like now he's knowingly attacking someone in front of other people. Like the risks that he's willing to take are increasing, and that seems so strange that like several states' justice systems would be like, well, this time he's okay.
Also, remember, this guy had a song about Dave Chappelle on his SoundCloud, so he was already a fan. And there's nothing to say, like, if that's if the point of this was about his, bringing attention to his mother's gentrification, the issue of gentrification in his mother's neighborhood and displacement, that's not really Dave Chappelle's bag. He wasn't like saying.
Are they performing in his mom's neighborhood?
There was
They're
no,
not.
no,
Like,
they're
it
not.
doesn't-
So
it doesn't make any
He
sense.
made that up after the fact.
Yeah,
is
he's just trying
my
to like
best
excuse
guess.
himself.
he's like, I just happen to have a song about Dave Chappelle, but it's really about my mom. I love my mom.
I tried to murder someone, and here's why that was a noble effort.
Isaiah Lee is stopping gentrification one attempted knife attack at a
Right.
time.
This-
Like, I don't get this.
hire him. Maybe they should just hire him to be security rather than these people who doing their job as security who are apparently bad
No,
at their
'cause-
jobs.
'cause to be direct, like this guy is not stable. Like he's not making logical conclusions. You could be like, "Hey, Isaiah, you're up. We're gonna hire you, protect that guy." And he'd be like, "Right. But I might attack him too." And they'd be like, "What? No, don't do that." He'd be like, "Well, I really can't tell you.
That's a risk I'm
Tell me
willing
about the
to
gentrification
take.
in this neighborhood, and then maybe I'll tell you what I'll do." What?
It's that's the risk he's willing to take. I would say play stupid games, win stupid prizes, but make sure you hire enough security to intercept those prizes before they
Right.
make their way to your person. Maybe that's the best way to look at this. But it just seems like one of these things where I saw it coming, but not the part about him getting in trouble for that. I figured maybe down the line he would do something more severe.
Turns
and then
out
they
he
would
had already
finally
done something.
Yeah,
And this was the severe thing. So now we wait for him to do an even more severe thing.
We'll have to see where that goes. I don't know if he's necessarily somebody that's going to be like, he could still beat that.
What if the judge just orders him to like be on a liquid diet? He can never use a knife again. He get handheld foods and smoothies only from now on.
He's just not allowed to, or just
No
keep
scissors either, because those could become knives very quickly.
or no plastic silverware, because that can be sharpened into a knife, which is not
He's
good.
never allowed to use anything that looks or could be fashioned into any kind of blade.
We'll have to. Well, common sense.
I doubt he would follow that, just for reference.
He probably wouldn't, but common sense sharpened object policy seems like a good idea in this context, right? No,
Maybe he
Doesn't
should
make any
continue songwriting to let out his anger.
That's probably what a California judge would order him to do.
The judge is like, look, I know you've attacked a famous celebrity and you tried to kill your roommate, but could you get a hobby?
The thing is, I believe you can be rehabilitated through song.
I'm looking, you guys aren't looking at this, but I'm looking at some of his song lyrics, and like, this guy just doesn't make any sense. One of the songs on the same album that had the Dave Chappelle song is titled MAGA, my N-word. And the lyric is, why is everybody always hating on my president?
I'm surprised.
Like, what?
I'm surprised that the media didn't say, like,
I'm
alt-right
so
attacker
confused.
attacks Dave Chappelle.
Why aren't they capitalizing on this angle?
That would have. My gosh, that is
MAGA
like.
conservative attacks
Dude.
Dave Chappelle on stage?
Nothing makes sense.
But the thing
anymore.
is, it's because Dave Chappelle is an enemy of the left in a lot of ways. So, like,
Mhm.
they don't care, you know,
What if-
that's
Right.
irrelevant to them.
What if that was the guy who started Ultra MAGA? That that could
enemy of my enemy
That's-
is still my enemy.
that could have been the guy who starts Ultra MAGA. Then
Thank you.
Speaking of which, do we have
Ah.
any super chats?
We do. The first one is from Yesh saying, "Hey Mary, you so fine, you blow my mind. Hey Mary, hey Mary."
Thank you for
10 out
singing
of 10. That was excellent.
My
I'm so
Podluck entry will be sent by Monday. Great show, Brett and Hannah Claire.
Oh,
Thank
gosh.
you.
This is like my favorite commenter right now.
And also, Hava Owens says it's crazy to see how many people are okay with people attacking performers as well as other celebs acting like this is okay.
Well, it's not okay. The thing is, like, we're joking and we're making light of these things, but it really should be an issue of, like, the security should be doing their job, right? Like, why are these...
Look, we can talk about it lightly because Dave Chappelle was
Thank
okay.
you.
Like, we wouldn't... Is that 2 in a row?
That was 2 in a row.
Oh, how fancy.
That was very fancy.
We can talk about it like this because Dave Chappelle is okay and because this person is in some manner being charged, right?
Yeah.
Like, if he were at large, if Dave Chappelle had been killed, like, we would talk about it more somberly.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take away from the fact that we think this is serious.
Yes.
Right?
One of the problems I have with culture right now is there's this, for a lack of better term, like binary nature to how you're able to have discussions, meaning like it's either serious or it's not serious. And if it's not serious, you can't joke about it at all. And I take issue with that. Like, you have to be able to find at least some level of humor in these things. You're looking at me like I'm insane.
No, I'm not.
Your eyes have grown 4 times in size.
They had.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Yeah, your eyes were very wide there.
I was just trying to listen.
Okay, yeah. I'm just like like a lot of times when we're talking about stuff, we talk about things that's like.
Thank you.
Another. How exciting.
We talk about things where it's like, you can't necessarily say that it's funny, but you have to be able to find the humor in some of this stuff. Otherwise, you're going to have a very long life. And I think that this is a case where because Chappelle ended up being okay, and with all of the factors involved, you can find some humor in this, even if it's not necessarily an entirely humorous situation. So, were there more?
Yes. Waffles Sensei says,
Hello, Waffle Sensei.
the escalation of violence is due to politics becoming pop culture. It's like Team Edward, Team Jacob,
my God.
except people are literally trying to kill each other over words, ideas, or opinions. Chappelle just stuck his neck out.
So, somebody caught me. I screwed up. So before we get into that, he is right. He is absolutely right. I think that part of it, I can't even think about Team Jacob versus Team Edward right now. Did you watch Twilight? I have no idea if you watched.
Absolutely did.
You did?
What
You
did
watched
you
Twilight?
think?
Of course.
I did not.
I think I'm Team Jacob, but like that's a very deep discussion that we're not going to get into right now.
Yes. Okay, do you want to read the last one? And this one's on
Yeah.
me, guys. They are right about this one.
1,000 Foot Deep End says, Shane is looking suspiciously like Hannah Claire today. LOL.
He is right.
What?
I screwed
Shane.
up. I said that at a certain point I said I would. There, we fixed it on air.
Oh my good! I do this show twice a week, and you don't know what my name is.
I think maybe that's why you were feeling disheveled at first, but you didn't know why.
Oh, that is true. You were sitting there like, I think I maybe forgot to do something. I feel like I forgot to do something. And
Yes.
It turns out it's acknowledge who I am as a human being.
It is. I have.
It's okay. I forgive you.
I have
It's really not that big a deal.
I've dead named you, and I apologize.
Who put that in? Whoever super chatted that, I really
Thank
appreciate
you,
the
1,000
assist.
foot deep end.
Yes.
Thank you very much. You have humbled me, and I appreciate it because that was I knew I was
You should
forgetting
just
something.
do it more so they have to super chat and call it out.
It's just like I feel like I've forgotten something. Like the
If only
cameras.
someone were to
It's like-
remind me.
It's like a weird I Spy game. Like,
yeah.
The cam-
Something
Spot
will
the
be
error?
slightly wrong every time.
The camera will be like half on your face, and I'll be like, I can't quite figure out what I've done wrong today. Thank you for that. I appreciate that very much. So we will.
Thanks.
That,
Hello,
that one
friends.
went quite fast. Go ahead.
I'm not seeing it. Oh, here it is. Make punk rock great again said, "Hey guys, glad you got your show on every day. Best wishes and success. If you get bored, come check out some of my new songs, Hive Mind Mentality and Ultra MAGA."
We may have to.
Interesting.
I might have to look that up when we're off air today. We'll have to check that out. All right, so let's move on to now that we've got Hannah Claire's name fixed.
Hello, it's me, Shane Cashman.
Yes, you could have done a very good Shane Cashman impersonation. Let's move on to the next
I honestly
topic
don't
here.
think I could impersonate Shane Cashman. He is such an original.
He is a very original. We will save that one. We are on to the next topic. We are on to the next topic. All right.
No, super chat again, so he has to review your
Yes.
comments.
Bobby Shmurda praises rap lyrics bill in New York State. Now, what about Georgia? Now, the point of this is that New York State has just passed a new law that basically limits their ability to like prosecute song lyrics as evidence. And when I initially looked at this, it seemed like kind of a duh, whatever. Like that doesn't that seem like common sense type of thing? But the more I read into this, the more I feel like it probably was.
Can you explain? Sorry, I didn't get a chance to read this beforehand. So they're saying during trial, if someone is like, "Isn't this your song?" That's inciting violence or whatever, they can only use a limited number of that. Like, in what context are they using?
We'll
rap
get into it.
lyrics? Okay.
Basically, it comes down to whether it can be perceived as
Like an indication of state of mind.
yes.
Okay.
Okay. So it says. New York State Senate passed a bill that would limit how song lyrics can be used as evidence in court. Pitchfork reports. Senate Bill S7527, also known as Rap Music on Trial, will not ban song lyrics from being used as evidence altogether, but according to the outlet, the lyrics will now have to be proved to be literal rather than figurative or fictional. Supported by artists like Jay-Z, Meek Mill, Killer Mike, Fat Joe, and more. Like, there's a lot of people. There's actually a lot more names in that, though. I think those are just the most prominent ones. That this just seems like one of those things where if you're in New York and like Jay-Z is a staple of New York culture, like you're gonna want to keep.
He is?
Yeah, he's from Brooklyn.
Yeah. So like he's. I mean, not as synonymous as some other people who.
No,
might
he's like
make
a New York native, and he it's a huge part of his rap music, and he, I think, owns some sports team.
I don't know if
don't
he-
come for me. I don't know what Jay-Z is up to.
So it says they spoke to his lawyer, Alex Spiro, sent a letter to the state lawmakers urging the bill to be passed. It says, this is an issue that's important to Jay-Z and all other artists that have come together to try and bring about this change, Spiro said. This is a long time coming. Mr. Carter is from New York, and if he can lend his name and his weight, that's what he wants. The sentiment is shared by many other artists who have suffered from having their rap lyrics weaponized again as well. Mac Phillips, a no-limit rapper who was convicted of manslaughter in 2001, I still remember that, after prosecutors heavily cited his lyrics and shared a statement Tuesday giving his thoughts about the bill being passed. Quote, criminal cases should be tried on factual evidence, not the creative expression of an artist, but unfortunately hip-hop has been held to a very different standard in the criminal justice system, at least within the last 3 decades, Phillips said. The passage of the New York bill gives me hope that the situations like the one I faced will be prevented from happening to other artists in the future. So just recently, Young Thug and Gunna, who are I love Gunna's music, just got arrested on RICO charges. Now, the thing is like, are we talking about, if the idea is that they run a criminal enterprise, if we're actually talking about rap lyrics as if they run a criminal enterprise, it's not like they're admitting to a crime. They're talking about vaguely committing criminal acts. It's not the same thing as saying, I did this to this person. But if we're talking about them in the context of like working with gangs, is this something where they can use the lyrics that are more general? And I don't think they can. I think that the what's it considered? What's that called when they have like the balance of like, so the evidence has to be weighed. I can't think of so it's like, what do you do in this case? Like, I don't really think the lyrics are factual, like can be stated as factual. It should be seen as art.
So if someone who's not me is a rapper says like, I was in the streets, I don't know how to say this, like buying guns and drugs, and that's like the lyric in their song, and then they're later, charged with like drug trafficking.
Yeah.
This wants to limit it so that the
Thanks.
the prosecution can only use a portion of lyrics or a limited amount. They can't say like, you definitely see, you talk about it in this lyric, so therefore it's true.
Yeah, like I said, there's not a whole lot here on the bill other than it's just saying like, if you can't prove that it was that you're telling the like an actual statement of facts and not just a fictionalized version of what you've done. I don't know.
What I'm saying is like, if a rapper says like, I am buying lots of drugs in my music. Sorry, I sound so bad. Like, I know I'm out of my element here, team, but like, I'm buying a lot of drugs, and
Best
then they are
rap lyric
charged.
I'm buying lots of drugs and guns.
I honestly am so mad at them. But like, if they reference purchasing drugs, and then they are charged with drug smuggling, or they're arrested in a drug bust, and then the prosecution is like, see, you talk about it, and they're like, no, that's fictional. Can we then assume, even if that scenario that they paint in their specific lyric is fictional, they are aware that they like?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, I am wondering how you distinguish between what's fictional and what is like
I don't
not,
know. That's what I'm saying. It seems
if
very hard to do.
some of the lyrics connect to what they're doing.
Oh, Mary, I think you got to put money in the thing again. There you go.
Oh.
Before we
Don't
go.
give away the behind the scenes secrets. I'm gonna Google this law because I'm like,
So it's like, but we don't just have this. We also have there's new stuff with Rust. So I don't know if I buy that they should be able to just like prosecute you on stuff you said in a song when you go and you participate in movies, or you have it says
okay. So the purpose of this law, according to the bill. Hello. Is
Thank
that
you.
because of my rapping?
yes, it was because you're
Oh
rapping.
my god, that's horrifying. Okay, so on the New York State Senate government website, it says the purpose of this legislation is to protect freedom of speech and artistic expression in New York State. This bill effectuates the enhanced free speech protections provided by the New York State Constitution, ensuring that criminal defendants are tried based upon evidence of criminal conduct and not the provocative nature of their artistic taste. So they say that like, if it goes into a song lyrics, you basically can't say that you're not supposed to say whether or not it's fictionalized.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Taylor
Taylor Swift must love this because now every time she goes through a breakup, she can be like, well, you don't know that. It could be pretend.
I feel like this is a case by case basis.
Yep.
I want to see examples where lyrics have been used as evidence. Was Bobby Shmurda one of them?
Well, yeah, he so that's his is like a relatively famous case, and I think I still have that article up here. It says he did 6 years for weapons charges, and I believe that his lyrics were used in that case. So it says, well, first we'll go through this one. It says the newly proposed law prevents cops and prosecutors from using lyrics against them in court cases. The bill has been championed by the likes of Jay-Z. And it says while Bobby is excited for things to come, he really hopes to see the rest of the country adopt similar measures, especially in Georgia, where Young Thug and Gunna and 26 other members are fighting RICO gang charges. Legal matters aside, Bobby's extremely hyped. You got to see his energy about having a lock on hip-hop this summer. He doubled down on what he previously promised during a chat with TMZ Hip Hop. So he had his song Hot N-word, which I cannot say, of course, but that song made him like a target for prosecution, and then he did
What's
like
the
6
lyric,
years.
though?
Let me
I wanna
look
know.
at the lyrics.
That's the thing. Like, it's so hard to talk about these things in abstract terms. Like, I get that's how you have to write legislation, so it's open-ended, can be applied maybe fairly, but like,
yeah.
I am not understanding like if this means that. Like, at first when you just sent me this headline, I was like, does that mean you can only reference like one verse of a song or 30 seconds of a song.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at what point do we decide that's too much or like leans too heavily?
It's like, how can you regulate in?
Okay.
in
They
how
feel
can
like
you
they
They
were
were
regulate stuff like
weapons
that?
charges, so this is unrelated. But he said, "I've been selling crack since the 5th grade."
Whoa, too.
Thanks.
It's all over the place today.
It's like Christmas every time.
I be getting money till I fall out. That's relevant. But I don't see anything about like
I still, it's like, how do you prove it is actionable? Like, it's like, what is that supposed to be like? Wouldn't
shots popping out the AR.
That's a
I'm
gun
with
reference.
Trigger.
That seems also like a gun reference.
Yes.
I'm so good at music
But I'm saying, like,
analysis.
how do they
There's
use?
nothing. Everybody catching bullet holes. I'm
Just
gonna
give me-
run up, put that gun on him.
All of today's episode segment, like all of the things that Dane makes for like advertising, is just to be you two doing rap lyrics. It's gonna be great.
We're
No.
just like
It's gonna be fantastic.
Look, I have some talents, but that's
intensely like
obviously not one
stoic
of
about
them.
it.
I'll just read rap lyrics out loud.
I also want to point out that that the two bills failed to pass involving California gun legislation with Rust involving in like the entertainment industry. Basically, this one says that there was competing proposals from Democrat Senator Anthony Portatino, chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee and the author of one of the bills. He strongly urged the entertainment industry groups to work collaboratively to bring forward a consensus approach, but no one did. And then it says down here, it's a powerful and ruthless industry. First, the industry killed Helena. Then they killed the bill that would have made people like her safe. No. Incompetent workers did that, and it has nothing to do with the industry. It has to do with the fact that Hannah Gutierrez Reed was not good at her job. That is like, and then
What
down.
are they saying? They're saying that
that it was the industry that killed her, and
like
that they need
the
so for
film
that
industry or the gun industry.
the film industry, because the film industry is lobbying, I'm sure, to keep these regulations from going into effect because it will cost them more money.
But wouldn't that seem like it is sort of on the industry that like
No, I
you're
don't.
allowed to hire someone who isn't trained for their job?
But they're not talking about. I looked at they're not talking about more regulations for armorers. They're talking about adding new positions like oversight positions that you should be training these people better, and there should be more rigid standards for actually doing the job of an armorer outside of apprenticeship, right?
Mm-hmm.
But does that mean you need to add new positions?
No, it's you're not. They're trying to solve it with like administrative. blows.
Yes,
Okay,
which
okay.
is not, at least in my opinion, that's not going to work. And they say down here that it says, I wanted to get to this specific point here. It said, where the Alliance of Special Effects and Pyrotechnic Operators opposed the bill, writing in a letter to lawmakers that it would not have prevented the tragedy that occurred in another state, but said that it would negatively impact motion picture productions here in California. I believe, now somebody would have to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, I know for a fact they were working on non-union crew. I do not know if Hannah Gutierrez Reed is part of I'm assuming she was still part of the union,
I don't know.
but the set in general was in a lot of chaos, and a breakdown in communication at all levels, from producer down to armorer down to actor, is and a bullet ends up in a gun that where live round should have never been.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that more legislation and more.
Thank you.
More. I don't believe that more legislation and more any of that is going to prevent this from happening. I think that maybe the best idea would be that there be more rigid standards for getting out of an apprenticeship and actually becoming that position full time. I don't know what the term for that would be, so that they're not an apprentice armorer or an intern when they actually start doing it on their own. Maybe there has to be more stringent safety measures for like tests they have to pass or time spent. I mean, in unions, don't they have to spend a certain amount of hours doing a job under an apprentice?
It depends. I feel like this is such a complicated law. It's hard to comment on without studying it.
Yeah.
I think that the Rust set was very chaotic, and in some ways it's like any workplace regulation or issue, right? Like you want to have workplaces where people who are operating dangerous equipment are trained, but in this case, like, again, I don't know if Alec Baldwin has been charged or where that falls, but like I haven't heard enough about the investigation to know whether the fault lies with the armorer or with Alec Baldwin or with some other failure along the way. It seems like it was a perfect storm of everything.
$137,000 in fines is what they faced, and now they're still going to finish the movie. You guys disagreed with me. I don't remember if that was your episode, that you think that that's like, I'm just one of those people, like, I would never want to see the movie like this. Like when
I feel like when I was on, we were saying, like, are they making the movie, or are they making the movie about the making?
No,
of
they're
the
making
movie
the movie. They're going to make the movie. Like,
It'd
to
be
me,
a lot smarter to just make a documentary at this point.
Well, and I feel like Alec Baldwin had that weird trying to, like, scrabble back into good graces, and then he, like, faded away. And then I saw that, like, People Magazine was like, oh my gosh, Alec Baldwin and his wife are having their 7th baby.
Are
and I
you
was
guys
like,
leaning towards
with
like negligence and not the suspicion that this was on purpose by anybody?
I see negligent. Like, what's that Hanlon's law? Like, never assume malice where ignorance is far more likely, right? So, like I'm gonna separate the two bills here. I'm gonna go through these two. Like, they summarize them here. It says Cortez's bill would have banned the use of guns and blank ammunition containing gunpowder on or other explosive charges from film sets, with some exceptions. It also would have required producers to hire a set safety coordinator to perform a risk assessment prior to the first day of filming, and to enforce safety rules throughout the production. So more people involved, more hands. Like, it's just more cogs in the machine with, possibility for failure in there. And then banning the use of blanks on set just doesn't seem like it's ever actually going to pass in California.
Do you feel like in some ways this is like sort of semi-gun legislation passed by people who really don't know anything about guns?
Yeah.
Like, do you think if this were, because this is being passed in California, right?
Yeah.
But the shooting took place in Arizona.
I don't think it was Arizona. Was it Arizona?
Yeah, I think it was.
Really?
I
Wasn't the set in Arizona? I could be wrong.
I don't remember where the.
The Santa Fe count. It was because he was arrested like a Santa Fe hospital. Like, in some ways, I would be more curious to hear how Arizona, which like certain states are very friendly to, like Georgia is a film state. Like they bring it in.
Canada,
so they
Georgia.
have some. They are starting to legislate, knowing that the film industry has a foothold there. North Carolina, I think, is another one. I would be curious to hear like how legislators in Arizona would handle this issue in comparison to California.
Well, because I don't know if the laws would follow them if they film out of state. Like, would
that's what I mean. Like, California could do whatever it wants, but if it in Santa Fe, does that mean that like they don't apply? Yeah. So they're regulating an industry that's like irrelevant?
So that was the first bill. And the second bill says Portantino's bill would have allowed guns with blank ammunition on set, but only under the supervision of an armorer who has completed a gun safety course created by the Office of the State Fire Marshal. It would have allowed live ammunition only in certain circumstances. I am really having trouble reading into like so in this case it's like they already have to.
I assume for like special effects, like where you have to have a bullet or something.
Or
for attempted murder, whatever.
Yes. Just don't give him to that dude from Dave Chappelle. Yeah, just don't give him a real gun.
Knives. He's knives only.
So it's like I have a feeling that the California like the film industry lobbyists were never going to get this thing. We're never going to allow these to pass. Because it's going to make.
But also, did they need to? This shooting didn't take place there.
No, it didn't. And in a traditionally chaotic set. My point is that what this movie is not a representative of that industry as a whole as far as firearm safety in this case, right? Mm-hmm. So it seems mind-boggling to me that every time something like this happens, the only answer anyone ever has is more legislation, more rigid standards, more this, more that, when in this case, it's just she didn't do her job. She was not good at her job, and this is an issue of the person, not an issue of the process.
It's really hard to say. I the last I could see, Alec Baldwin is still facing charges. He's not out of hot water yet, as of like late April. That's what like a lot of media reports were saying. I think pending the investigation kind of gives an indication of where legislation would or would not be needed. Yeah. I stand by, like, I see that like it's a California-based industry, like film. Yeah. But it did happen in Arizona, and it's not totally clear to me that this law is anything but virtue signaling either way.
That's what it feels like to me.
It's showing that they're
reacting
in a serious manner to it, when
but in
I
not
don't
an
think there was
manner.
any intention of it necessarily coming to any outcome.
I hate that. I hate
real.
Like, it's just for show, and now we wasted tax dollars and time.
Like, I'm a lot more interested in the PR response than actual legislation, and this is a PR response in
I feel like this is
legislation.
California's PR response
Yeah.
to being like, no, film is a responsible industry. And it's like, first off, clearly that's not true. And second off, like, this didn't even happen in your state.
Yep.
Unless, I just don't, I really wish someone could tell
Well,
me.
I'm saying I don't know if I necessarily buy that it's not a safe, at least as far as firearms go. We had the Brandon Lee incident back in the 90s. There have been some other incidents. There have been set deaths from people dying from stunt
the
work.
guy who was hired to originally play the Tin Man and Allison
Allergic to the-
he was allergic to the metal that was used in the paint, and he died.
That's a very good film trivia
that was
question.
metal.
Thank you.
It was
I think it was.
rusty metal. Yes, that's exactly what it was.
People used to be about their craft that much.
But then no one passed a law saying, like, we must allergy test all of our actors before we decide what cosmetics we're using on them.
Nope.
Like,
Oh, I had assumed that it just had like some harmful chemical in it, like
no,
mercury.
he had an anaphylactic reaction. Like,
Wow,
he was
okay.
allergic to the material,
Okay.
from what I understand.
Super
But, like,
chats.
it's
Super
an
chats?
obscure allergy. Sorry, I'll talk.
It's okay. Fluffy Yellow says, keep up the great job. Also, Tim okay? Why no 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. videos today? I don't really
Tim's
want to get into
booting
the
a boot.
the habit of answering for Tim's whereabouts.
Yeah, I don't know if that's on us. He's we can't say one way or the
Keep
other.
up with him on
There-
social media. I think it's not a secret, but he'll let you know what
Wait,
he's doing.
Did he say on social media what he's doing?
Someone who follows him on Twitter would know.
If you follow him on
Yes.
Twitter, you will be able to find out.
Although I don't
what
know
is
that he
going
said
on.
that. Don't come for me if he hasn't said that.
Okay.
Tim's fine, just for everyone's reference.
Yes.
Super Guy said, Mary's army of bears is growing. Really enjoying PCC live so far. Keep up the great work. Yeah, I don't know if they show up totally in my shot, but Super Guy sent some additions to the crew back there, so thank you for that. 1,000 Foot Deep End says, I can't take credit for catching Hannah Claire's mislabeled camera. Someone else in the chat noticed it first. LOL.
Yeah, but you took
But
action.
you were the
and
one that
appreciate
paid,
it.
so thanks.
Yeah.
Caper2X said, some cash for Mary's baking fund. Thank you so much. Howdy, Hannah Claire. Brett, please get off your high pony and give the new ST a fair shake. What is that?
Star Trek,
I'm
right?
assuming
Oh,
he
Star
means
Trek, a
Star
fair
Trek?
shake. The show has heart.
If you mean Star Trek, I'm just, I have to admit, I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan to begin with. As far as space operas as such, I would much rather watch Firefly. I wish they had made 1,000 seasons of that rather than anything else, but perhaps I shall give it another go. I'm not watching Discovery. You couldn't pay me $1 million to watch Discovery. I will not do it. I'm not going
Not even
What
a
about 2 million?
$1 billion.
for a
Let's
billion.
bring Elon Musk into this. How can we make this happen? Let's make a deal.
I will only watch Stacey Abrams play president of the world for $1 billion and not a penny less. Not a penny less.
Brett has standards.
Yes, exactly.
Dave Font says,
Dave, how is Dave?
I was in the streets buying guns. Hannah Claire. Thanks for the clip, friend.
No, Dave, no.
I
Guys,
can't
my
wait.
rap career has like started and died in one moment.
Hava Owens says, MF Doom, rap snitch niches?
Looks like that.
Telling on themselves in court, being their own star witness.
Oh, that's kind of funny.
That's an MF Doom. Okay, that's an MF Doom lyric.
Oh.
Okay, all right.
John Lee says, I'm not 100% sure, but Tay-K's song, The Race, was used against him in his murder trial because it was a song about his actual crime.
Wow.
It was?
Okay.
That was
That's
a
the
hit,
thing.
though.
Didn't
Love
Lil
that
Wayne,
song.
like all of his first album, he was like talking about stuff he actually did and experienced?
Yeah.
Like, I guess it was in the past and he wasn't facing
Are
charges.
you supposed to not make art about your experiences now?
Somebody
You
called
did
Taylor
something
Swift.
wrong?
You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's actually makes an interesting point. Like, if the question is like, well, then who? Like, if you're making this music and it's not telling your personal experience, then what are you telling of? Like, you're not contributing to the culture in any way that was actually part of your own experience. That's weird.
You make an album called Statute of Limitations and you just only release them as like the like time runs out on when you can talk about them.
That's genius. That is.
Call me for all your rap marketing needs. Please don't. Please absolutely don't do that. Cannot tell you how bad of a suggestion that was.
That's a fantastic suggestion. That's a fantastic suggestion.
That's my first rap album.
Okay.
We've got one more. Waffles Sensei says, Brett, you should read that quote behind you, the all technology one. I really love it. Who's that quote from?
Oh, that is okay. So that is a quote from my favorite television show of all time. It's called Person of Interest. It was a Jonathan Nolan show on CBS from 2011 to like 2016, and that's a quote from season 2, episode 3. And it's a character named Logan Pierce says to John, he says, "All technology ages, John. The only thing that doesn't change is wanting to connect with people."
That's beautiful.
In the show, the character of Logan Pierce is like he's supposed to be like a Zuckerberg-esque tech billionaire. And the idea is that
Zuckerberg.
yeah,
That was the best tech billionaire they could pick.
in that
Of all the tech billionaires,
Just
sorry.
a kind of lizardy guy.
Oh, okay.
back then, I mean, it was 20. That episode was in like 2012 or 2013, so it was there was less tech billionaires to choose from at the time, at least as far as social media tech. And in that show, one of the other main characters, played by Michael Emerson, is supposed to have like created social media to help build the algorithms that helped his artificial intelligence data mine for information. And so he's kind of like the Tom from MySpace. Albeit one that's like not known to the public, and then Logan Pierce is the one who's supposed to be like more like Facebook that took over for them. So that's I do find that quote to be quite moving, actually. So
Thank you for that.
thank you. If you guys are ready, we will move on and we will talk about this very sad story about the power. Red
It's
Power.
not as sad as it is just absurd.
It's kind of funny and absurd. Red Power Ranger actor Austin St. John arrested for COVID fraud. Massive FBI raid and guns drawn. So like I said, this is the only thing akin to this is Tommy Oliver going evil in the Power Rangers when he was the Green Ranger and had his mind infected and had to eventually become the White Ranger later on. I want to buy one of those dragon daggers.
I love
still.
that you know the lore.
It was part of my childhood. I'm not one of those people that followed Power Rangers after the
Power
first.
Rangers are a long surviving series. They've had several iterations. Like, I think you could probably still find Power Rangers on TV for
No,
children.
there is, and
I
there's.
think that's cool because I grew up with Power Rangers too, and like I don't know any of the lore. But
It
like,
has an extremely.
It was a good time.
It has an extremely rabid fan base still. It's like one of those
That's
things where
crazy.
it's like the people, they love the comics, they love the original art.
We
They
said
do fan
that we
films.
like it though. They're gonna ruin it somehow.
Yes, so they make
It's just a
fan
matter of
films, stuff
time.
like that. The 2017 movie was officially started to feel old when like there's an actress in there that plays one of the characters' moms. I think it's Trini's mom, and the actress who plays the mom is like Erica Sarah, and I'm like, she can't really be the age of a mom. And I looked it up, I'm like, oh, she's only like a couple of years older than me, and I'm kind of like, ugh.
You too could be a mom if you wanted to.
If I wanted to, I am the age
Just
of I am at
kidding.
the age of motherhood. So it says actor
motherhood, and then some other barriers to that.
So it says Austin St. John, the actor who played the Red Power Ranger in the 90s TV series, has had his house raided by the feds. He's now under arrest for a massive federal criminal case. One of St. John's neighbors told TMZ that approximately 15 FBI agents in tactical gear rolled
What
up
a
to St. John's house.
snitch.
I know, right?
His
And then he-
neighbor.
and then he didn't even get his name in print. Haha.
Ah.
Thursday at 7 a.m. in Tahoe Suburbans, in an upscale neighborhood in McKinney, Texas, brandishing what looked like AR-15s as they approached his porch.
Don't you guys
I
think
kind-
that that's a little bit of an overreaction to a financial crime?
Didn't they do this to what's his name from the Trump administration?
They do this all the time.
Who?
I could be misremembering.
They
it.
also like did this to James O'Keefe with Veritas. Like,
Yeah. So it says
show of force, you know.
Jeez.
they entered the home. When they came out, they had +1 St. John in cuffs. Turns out there was a massive federal indictment involving 18 people who have now been charged with fraud. The indictment alleges that St. John was part of a scheme to defraud the Small Business Administration's Paycheck Protection Program. That's the program designed to help small businesses affected by COVID. So this isn't the first time this has happened either, from what I remember. And I do have that other one, that other article pulled up.
It's
but
not
it
the
says
first time the Red Power Ranger has been arrested.
that celebrities have gotten caught defrauding the pay.
Yeah. Well, actually, one of my favorite times I report on this for Tim's site was NBA had a big like defrauding
Yeah.
scandal. There were a bunch of NBA players who were faking medical documents to make claims because they have like continuing health insurance even after they're retired.
So it says he got 16. It says St. John allegedly got 16 loans totaling 3.5 million, which he used for personal purchases and not for the intended purpose. Even if it was used for the intended purpose, the feds claimed it was obtained fraudulently. St. John played Jason Lee Scott in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which launched his career in 1993. I mean, launched is a pretty harsh
He lives in an upscale neighborhood in McKinney, Texas.
Yes.
He is a star.
So-
Actually, McKinney's a cool place.
Yes, I know people from McKinney.
Me
So
too.
we go down here and it says the indictment states 2 other defendants, Michael Hill and Andrew Moran, were ringleaders in corralling 16 others to apply for small business loans with falsified documents and collected the money for their own personal purchases. So the first article made it seem like he filed for all 16 loans himself. But what it is like a bunch of people get brought into this to
Under him?
Yes, under these other 2 people. He was just one of 16 other people who did this. It says on the applications, the defendants are alleged to have misrepresented material information such as the true nature of their business, the number of employees, and the amount of payroll.
Did this guy have anyone on his payroll?
It says it does not list anything
doubt
there.
it.
I'm guessing that he doesn't because he was charged with fraud. So it says the Paycheck Protection Program was designed to help struggling small businesses during the pandemic and giving loans to business owners in need as part of the CARES Act passed in 2020. So this is kind of fascinating because the other one I remembered was there was like an old mid-2000s or like late 90s musician, a band called Pretty Ricky, and like the lead singer of Pretty Ricky got caught up in this as well as a bunch of other artists from like Georgia, and that was mostly musicians. So it says
I don't know. Like if you're thank you. If you're an entertainer and you got your money up, you don't need to commit fraud. So
Well, yeah,
this is embarrassing for.
Oh, this time it
Austin
gave me
St. John.
hundreds. Sorry.
So it says this is the I'm just pulling this over. This is the other indictment. This is the one from Georgia. It says among those indicted were Ian Overman. I don't know if that was supposed to be Ian, but I'm guessing it's Ian Overman, an actress who appeared in the early 2000s series Port Charles, as well as Desperate Housewives, and Tyler Perry's Medea Goes to Jail. That's ironic, kind of, in a way. I don't know. If she doesn't play Medea, so I guess that's... Carlos Klaus Stevens, music producer and consultant who worked with Master P and Lil Romeo. That's too bad because Master P is awesome still to this day. Dale Godbaldo, an actor who appeared in The People vs. O.J. Simpson. Again, a bit ironic, but, you know. And then media personality... Marvin Luton, media personality covering hip-hop, known as OG Shoddy Powers. The people involved in the indictment haven't spoken publicly as of yet. And then the other one said that basically they were using it to keep their lifestyle up, right? So it's thank you.
Ooh, nice.
I think we are running dry on our special money machines today. That's how generous people are being. That's very nice.
But
So
reload them so they'll keep being generous.
yes. So what's funny about this is like you're right. Like if you're making good money, and a lot of these actors, it's not like the people mentioned were like high name people, right? So it's like they're still living paycheck to paycheck a lot of the time, right? They're not living in $1 million mansions. They're just happen to be part of an industry where the persona of most of those people is that they live in that
And
world.
depending on how you like structure your money and stuff, right? You could like make a lot of money when you're a young actor, your career kind of dies off, and so you invest in other things. You have a sort of second career.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason to believe he's doing poorly financially. He's not necessarily living paycheck to paycheck, but like that doesn't necessarily give you credit to defraud the government.
Also, some people are just greedy. Some people are just greedy and think that they can get away with stuff that they can't, and that's even more heartbreaking to
I
me.
have seen a couple things about these loans that were like given out in the COVID era that like because they were coming out so quickly and people were applying for them, not everyone understood like with the loans like what you needed to submit. Like you could get them, but you could get them having not totally accurately represented your information, and then it was a question of like or like what you had to do afterwards.
Yeah.
I've heard that there is some bureaucratic like misinformation out there, or like it's been difficult to follow.
And
This doesn't seem like it. This seems like an intentional plot to be like, we'd like some money. Please give us some money.
Also, there was like a lot of stuff when people were applying for unemployment that they like tried to ease the process of applying for unemployment because it was bogging down the system in a lot of these states, which is, But of course, whenever tragedy or misfortune or bad events come about, there's going to be people who want to take advantage, and that's kind of.
Do you guys think that an entertainer would be more likely to take advantage of an unfortunate situation.
Like speaking
this.
to the morality of
Yeah.
of the entertainer, like it's not like this guy's been acting like a ton, so it's like I don't like think of him the same way as I would think of like
No, yeah.
if Tom Cruise, who we're going to talk about here in a little bit,
Why?
don't worry, it's not about Tom Cruise, it's about a movie he's in. But like if somebody of that level of money is doing something like this, that's so abhorrent that I don't think anybody can get behind that or believe that they would do something like that. But somebody like this, who's like an actor but not necessarily a working actor, who's probably doing other things with his money and his time now, it's more likely to believe that they would think that they could get away with something
Yeah,
like this.
I feel like I'm not willing to say like, oh, because he's an entertainer, he's more likely to, right? There are sleazy people in all industries who will take advantage of like whatever benefits they can.
Absolutely.
I think that like studies show that certain personality types or certain personality disorders are drawn to certain careers. And so like in that sense, maybe if you're arguing like people who are drawn to acting are also like report higher rates of like deceptiveness, then maybe I could get behind it. But like just as a generalization,
I would
don't
believe
feel
it,
like it.
yeah.
Well, it's like I forget what it is, but it's the personality type that Hillary Clinton is on the Myers-Briggs, like INTJ, I think.
What does that mean?
It's
Myers-Briggs or INTJ?
No, INTJ.
it's like
Introverted, intuitive, thinking,
judging.
And
And
Wow.
like the highest concentration of them in America are in and around DC.
Politicians.
Or like car salesmen report higher rates of sociopathy.
Wow.
Studies show. So like in that sense, yeah.
okay.
like-
Isn't that also a long-held suspicion of like CEOs that like the idea being that like if you're going to like literally be responsible for the livelihoods of like hundreds of people or thousands of people, you kind of have to be able to treat them like look at them as if they're
Well-
numbers on a spreadsheet.
Well, that's
rather
also,
what
than,
an
like-
intelligent
Yeah.
psychopath is, and then like an unintelligent psychopath is just like
Belligerent.
the
yeah.
guy who stabbed Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, like
that's
think about
literally
sociopaths is like a lack of the ability to feel empathy, right? So
Yeah.
like one of the reasons you might say a sociopath might succeed in sales is like they don't care if they're ripping you off, like
Yeah.
that's not their focus, right? Because they literally can't feel that. And so in that sense, like just to reiterate the point, like I actually don't know that entertainers are more likely to commit fraud, like especially successful actors. If you have the money, why do you need to?
Mhm.
But like again, if we're still reporting high rates of deceptiveness or greed in certain industries, maybe.
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I wonder
That
if some like bigger names are involved, but they won't get caught.
probably yeah, like their name doesn't quite come up in the indictment. I'm
Yeah.
sure that seems likely. All right, were there any super chats there? I believe I saw 2 there.
I feel like I saw more.
Okay, 14 Apple Pie said, not that into rap music of today's era, mainly listen to reggae. Y'all should give the group Leah Terra a listen. Great songs, lyrics helped me in hard times.
That's one of the
Cool.
best things in the world is to have music that it helps you when you're struggling with that. I have a lot of
Reggae
bands
is
like
like
that.
a little too positive for me.
That
have
does
like
not
Something a
surprise
little
me
more
at
tortured.
Do they have like death metal reggae we could play? Do they have sort of punk reggae?
music not being too positive for you is absolutely something that I buy. I buy that like 110%.
Or it's not vapid enough, maybe. Blue Ridge Bear said, y'all should discuss your favorite and most underrated movies. I'm surprised more people don't know about The Rocker with Rainn Wilson and MySpace.
I
Do you-
try.
have you guys heard of that?
No,
those
I
are not
haven't.
ones that I've heard of.
I've tried. I mean, I think you do it sometimes, but Brett and I have talked about having a segment where it's called like "I'm not over this," and you could just talk about
Yeah.
stuff that's happened in the past. So
we
maybe
did that
could talk
once,
about-
right?
Yeah, we did
haven't
that.
brought it back since.
We did that with White Boy Summer for Dane,
Yeah.
so that Dane could talk about White Boy Summer. I wanted to do it with the story about all of the dog, about the dog that got addicted to cocaine because of all the coke that was being done at the Playboy Mansion.
I think that there's like a lot of ways you can apply this. So probably talking about like our favorite movies or like.
I would love to be able to just like pick a TV show that I love and just talk about it randomly on like not even like record a video because I'm too ADHD to be able to do it in like a segmented format where I talk about the things I like, I talk about this, I talk about that. I want to just be able to like say this is what I'm going to talk about and then just yap for as long as I can.
We talked about on like a weekend segment, like towards the end of the week, doing a like here's what you should watch, like a recommendation. So you could recommend
Yeah.
something current or something coming out, but you could also be like, I love this movie, it doesn't get enough attention, and recommend it. So maybe like there are ways to work that in.
This week that would be telling people to go watch The Wire, because they should all be watching The Wire again. For the however many times you've seen it is not enough. You should be watching it multiple times, because
Where
it's
is that again?
The Wire is on HBO Max right
Brett,
now.
I've never seen The
I'm not
Wire.
gonna pay for that.
That's
Sorry.
See, a girl who doesn't pay for streaming. My research continues.
That's-
Wait, is that like a
I have a-
theory you have?
Yeah, I have a pet theory that women don't pay for streaming at the rates that men do. Men will have multiple streaming platforms that they pay for, and anecdotal evidence suggests that women are less likely to pay for any of them. And if they are going to pay for them, it's like one or two. In fact, I
Because
think
women's
women are,
recurring payments are on like themselves, not on.
well,
things they
I also
watch.
think women are more likely to pay for like music platforms. Like I think more women pay for Spotify. Again,
Oh
all
yeah, I pay
anecdo-
for Spotify.
all anecdotal evidence, but please submit your answers to continue my research.
well, we'll have to see. I still say that there's no gender discrimination, that people of all genders
The thing is,
love.
We'll come in here and Brett will be like, yeah, I pay for HBO, and I pay for Hulu, and I pay for Netflix, and I pay for this and that. And I'll be
I
like,
don't say
I don't
that-
pay for any of them. Mary doesn't pay for any of them.
Nope.
She
So-
says that like I say it with pride. I don't say that with pride.
He
I'm
says
just
it with
like,
a bit of pain in his voice, but
You've got, like,
nonetheless,
flags and like buttons you wear on your shirt.
I pay for multiple streaming services.
yeah, you're saying that like I'm like flying.
I
the
heart
fl-
Netflix.
No, I'm saying it like you look at it as something that like is worth spending your money on, and I think more women are like, I can borrow someone's password,
Right.
And that's why Netflix is like not for long
Well,
because
that's,
they're anti-feminist.
That is
Whoa.
Just kidding. I don't care about feminism.
pure gender.
Thanks.
Thank you. That is pure gender bias to say that women can just borrow someone's password, because us guys couldn't get away with that.
Or it's playing to stereotypes because women work more collaboratively than men, maybe. I don't know. I'd love to continue this research. Please super chat so maybe my project can get some funding.
Perfect.
Should I read this
Yes.
one? Or wait. Okay. 14 Apple Pie added another one. I read it wrong. It was an I, not an L. So it was a capital I. It was Ayatera. Random,
Okay.
but they have a metal clothing line too.
That seems
Mary's
perfect.
like, I'm in.
Yeah, Mary's like,
I'm more into that than the music.
she's like, I can't have my music too happy. That's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. All right. Podluck, which we apparently, thanks to a super chat earlier, somebody said that they're going to send one in. I don't think we would actually
By
legally.
Monday. There's a deadline. Hurry up.
A self-imposed deadline.
Yeah.
I don't think we would legally be able to use that. So
If they give it to us copyright free, why not?
I just feel like, isn't this kind of the same thing? Like
Can't they
when
email a note? You
Wait,
guys have
what do
my
you
permission to use
mean?
this?
well, isn't this like one of those things?
You
when they-
told them to send in. Sorry, Brett's real mad that I'm interrupting. But like, you made a request telling people to send stuff in. They're following through.
I feel like it was like half a joke. Maybe I'm just too dry. The idea is like the same.
There are no jokes when it comes to Podluck theme songs.
This is true, but the idea is that like you can't just like tell people a movie pitch. Like if you're producing movies, you can't just hear pitches from people for threat of it being copy. Like then coming back later and copywriting it and telling you like you stole their idea. So you're not even supposed to listen to other people give you movie ideas for that purpose. So maybe that's why
We're gonna get in big legal trouble, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
we will. So we'll have to see. So do you want to
Should I
read that
read
one
that
before we go?
one?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. No comments. Thank you, Striver.
That was just for fun?
There was
Nice.
no message, but we're very grateful for your
Dude,
contribution.
that was great.
I'll take that as a baking fund.
That
No,
will be,
wait, that's for my research.
We will go with that. All right, let's move on. Podluck. So
Driver, let us know what that was for.
Podluck says The Last Samurai actor defends movie against white savior backlash. This one was very interesting to me because what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through some of this. This is from Ken Watanabe talking about this, but I want to read this and I'm going to read you the description of the movie, how it's given on IMDb, and tell me if it doesn't seem kind of insane that people have a problem with this. Whatever your thoughts are on like how movies have been made with like white people taking over roles or people of other races taking over roles and stuff like this. They recently Thank you. So my favorite example is like not in movies, but like they recently got rid of Danny Rand as like Iron Fist because he's like a white dude who does martial arts, and they're like, you can't do that, and so they make an Asian guy the martial
that
arts.
whole Cobra Kai TV show gets to stay?
That gets a pass.
Gets
Do you
grandfathered
dislike that one?
No, I
No,
don't
that-
dislike
that-
that one, but like It's we can't make new things about white people who do.
Oh, yeah.
It's also unevenly enforced. But the point is, so it says, in an interview with The Guardian, Watanabe, who was nominated for an Academy Award for his supporting role in the film, defended The Last Samurai against those claiming that it was nothing more than a white savior movie. In the actor's opinion, the movie provided a valuable chance for Asian characters to be portrayed in a way that moved on from many years of racial stereotyping. The actor said, "I didn't think of it like that. I just thought we had an opportunity to depict Japan in a way that we never were able to before. So we thought we were making something special. Before The Last Samurai, there was the stereotype of Asian people with glasses, buck teeth, and a camera. It was stupid, but after The Last Samurai came out, Hollywood tried to be more authentic when it came to Asian stories." So one of my problems that I have with most of the people in these spheres is that they want to pretend like all the progress and all the growth that's ever happened in these industries has happened in like the last 5 years. They want to pretend like Hollywood wasn't always...
We were evil, and then we decided not to be evil one day at random.
Exactly.
And
We're
great.
We had a committee meeting, and we're like, we've got to renounce being
guys,
evil.
we're evil. Let's just stop being evil.
Guys,
and then it
it's
worked.
played out. Evilness in the movie industry, it's so over.
But it's just like...
Canceled.
The arts is famously a place for people with progressive views. The business side of it,
Why,
not
though?
so much.
Why does it have to be?
Why do I'm not? I don't know why. I'm just telling
Maybe they
you.
oppress
Just
conservative voices.
Yes.
The fact that they're like subversive in some way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it goes on and says, while The Last Samurai came out at a time when there were more calls for diversity in movie roles for all minority groups, there has been an ongoing battle in Hollywood to try and get the balance right to please everyone. That is a literal impossible task. You will never, ever, 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 ever make everyone happy.
You know what's crazy? I see so much stuff right now. I follow a lot of like psychology or sociology topics and writers, and like there's a lot of self-help books that are like, stop being a people pleaser. Being a people pleaser ultimately makes everyone, including yourself, unhappy. Unless you're the Hollywood casting directors, you guys got to make this work.
Sucks
But that's
to
the
be
thing,
you.
like they're pretending to be people pleasing, but they actually have contempt for the audiences.
It's because they
That they're-
hate everyone.
Like, I guess being a people pleaser in your own life does make you resent other people, so it makes sense.
Yep. So it says, well, there have been changes in the fact that Asian characters are now being seen in more prominent roles, something that took a huge leap forward with the success of Squid Games on Netflix, as well as Marvel's release of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. They act like Bruce Lee wasn't a thing, or Jackie Chan wasn't a thing, or Jet Li wasn't a thing, or any of these actors weren't a thing in like the 2000s and the 90s and the 80s and 70s. That's annoying. That's
Maybe
annoying
they
to
were
me.
oppressed, even if they didn't know it.
Well, and one of the problems
They
I have
also
with that
act
is
like Asian cinema was not real.
like Hong Kong cinema wasn't a thing. So it says, however, there are those who argue that representation in some movies and TV shows is being pushed to the point where every production has from each race, gender, sexual orientation, and more, which doesn't necessarily put the right people in the right roles. When this noise arises, it sets off another wave of usually toxic social media posts, and then the cycle begins again. They're right. This is what happens literally every time. You cannot make everyone happy. Everyone argues. You start over. But what I want to talk about is I want to read you the synopsis of this movie and tell me if this doesn't sound like I saw The Last Samurai. It's been so long that I remember literally nothing about it. I was so young when I saw it. But so it says, in the 1870s, Captain Nathan Algren, a cynical veteran of the American Civil War who will work for anyone, is hired by Americans who want lucrative contracts with the Emperor of Japan to train the peasant conscripts for the first standing imperial army in modern warfare using firearms. The Imperial Amora, played by Masato Harada, cabinet's first priority is to repress a rebellion of traditionalist samurai, hereditary warriors who remain devoted to the sacred dynasty, but reject the westernizing policy and refuse the firearms. Yet when his ill-prepared superior force sets out too soon, their panic allows the sword-wielding samurai to crush them. Badly wounded, Algren's courageous stand makes the samurai leader Katsumoto, played by Kent Watanabe, spare his life. Once nursed back to health, he learns to know and respect the old Japanese way and participates as an advisor in Katsumoto's failed attempt to save the Bushido tradition. So I don't see that as white savior. I see that as somebody who goes, experiences another culture and grows. But because
that's not allowed anymore.
It's not allowed anymore.
And that would imply that they saw white culture and grew in a positive way from it, right?
Yes.
Which would be
Or
against narrative. Have you seen this movie? That's what I was whispering to you.
I did when I was a kid. I don't remember much of it.
But I'm saying he experiences their culture and grows. It's not that he goes there and changes them into their ways.
Well, it's like it's both ways. Like,
yeah,
obviously the culture is affected by him. He's affected by their culture,
which is what it is.
That's literally just the story of humanity
at all
like
times.
but that's like something we're like so obsessive compulsive about now that we can't comprehend it.
It's fascinating to me, like how your modern day progressive audience literally thinks they are the first people in the world to discover these things,
right?
And look at any attempt previously because it's not held to the standard that they believe is worthy of today in 2022. That is somehow bad.
If anything, this was more of an equitable approach than the one we're taking now, which is that no one can engage with a culture that is not their own.
Otherwise, you're appropriating it.
Right.
So it's just that baffles my...
Unless you're bashing European culture.
Yes.
Then it's fine.
Well, even that, like, I hesitate to go that far in the discussion. I'm just sick of I'm just sick of the bar.
I'm just walking up to the line.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that, like, to me, it's like that's where we expect these conversations to go. But to me, this is one of those things where I just don't know what they want. Like, they literally expect
everything. They don't
everything.
even know what they want, Brett. Yeah. They just want to complain. That's what they want.
Well, I'm here looking for a little bit of logic and a little bit of grace, and I'm getting none of it from these people.
And I think part of it is, like, this expectation of culture, like, they want everyone to fall in line in the most perfect way. And I think when you're really trying to make progress, you accept, like, you're a little bit more forgiving on when people err, right?
Yeah.
Like, you just want to see people start to try as opposed to holding everyone to a standard which they won't reach, and so everyone's afraid to try.
And you want to go ahead and you can read that super chat because it's relevant to this topic before we move on to the next thing in
Waffles Sensei said, not crying about it, but Last of the Mohicans and The Last Samurai are both movies about a dying culture, has a white guy playing the last survivor.
I do wonder if some of that has to do with the fact that it's a Western-made movie. So you draw from your country's own experience as you interact with the other culture. If the movie had been made in Japan, it likely would have had a different protagonist in the film, right? At the time now, it's theoretically probable that in America, because we are such a ethnically and racially diverse culture here, that we probably would cast somebody of a different race or gender or ethnicity than white now. Or we wouldn't do that now. We would put somebody in from another group. So is that bad? Like, is it bad?
Because of that, we're interpreting a movie about an interaction between two cultures in a much different way than we otherwise would have.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just, these are the things where I feel like, whereas when it's created, it was done without malice and with focus on story and to tell a good story. Whereas when the people interpret it now, they interpret it as if it was done with malice.
Yeah, it's sort of just like the remake of Mulan. Like, it was taken, all of the levity was just gone. It's like we pretended that was never a movie for children.
Yeah, I think that, like, a lot of these movies at the time were just movies. They're just entertainment. They're a different perspective on a different world. Like, you know, it wasn't anything intended as, like, a barbed insult. And now we feel afraid of what we've created, and we are unwilling to just accept that, like, it was made with good intention, because even if it did something wrong, and we have to punish everything that goes wrong.
And I hate the way that culture has gone that way, because it stifles creativity, in my opinion. All right, I want to talk about two things that I don't think need to be made, and I might catch a little flack for this first one here, and that's that Daredevil is moving to Disney Plus, and the series will be a continuation and something new. I don't want them to do this because they're not going to be respectful of the tone of the Daredevil Netflix show, which was far darker. The example I will always give is in the second episode, you see Kingpin behead someone with a car door. Literally decapitates a dude with a car door. If you believe that Netflix is going to create something that's not wacky and different, that's.
You think Netflix is going to make it worse?
No, Netflix already did that. It's on Disney. Like, now it's been reestablished. Now Disney has the rights to that.
It is the same show,
it's
right?
It's the same. Now this is a problem. Like, it's the same actor, but it's not quite the same version of the character.
It's a different canon entirely.
It's they
This is so confusing.
Chappelle was like, "I've got this, guys."
They choose to vaguely define and only interact with certain elements of it. So it's like it's kind of the same character, but not really, and you don't know for sure.
What?
Does this pass the sequel test? Is this a sequel or is it like
this is a continue?
rebranded?
It's technically what this would be is a continuation of if they bring Charlie Cox
It would
back
be
on
like
as
season
Daredevil,
2.
it would be like as if they made a season 4.
Oh.
It's just going to feel nothing like the three
Okay,
previous
so they're
seasons.
not. Maybe
Which is
the
really
feel is
great.
going to be different.
Yes.
And the writing is going to be different. But is the actual canon like shifting over to a different canon?
You won't know.
What do you mean you won't know?
Likely they won't address
I
it.
don't even care about Daredevil, and this is pissing me off.
Yes. So so it says, what could this mean exactly? So it says, considering that Charlie Cox has already
Are
reprised
you
his
saying
role,
we won't know until we see it?
you won't know until you see it whether it's like,
Okay.
Or ever. Maybe.
it says, so basically he
Will it
acknowledged
become
that
clear when we watch it whether or not they stuck to canon?
he acknowledged when doing interviews that he would be okay with them making a less violent version of the show. But then it's not this show. Then it's not this version of Daredevil. Just cast a new actor. Yes, Charlie Cox is perfect as Matt Murdock. But if it's not going to be what we've already seen, it's fundamentally a different piece of media. Just make something different. I don't need to see this Disneyfied. I don't, and I don't want to. That's that. Yes. That
Do you
is
think they're trying to make it a kiddie show?
I don't know if they will drop it to that level, but it's certainly going to
Disney
feel.
Plus in general just seems more averse to showing any violence on their shows.
All of the and people are like, it'll be fine because they've added like parental warning settings for like the Netflix Marvel shows because they were very like most of them were quite violent. But as we've already seen, they're already censoring stuff and making changes to things after it's already come out. I don't buy for a second that this will carry any of the spirit that the Netflix version of this character did.
I guess Disney Plus just wants to be like the streaming service that like a parent plops down their kid and just hits autoplay.
Basically.
And it doesn't matter what comes up.
They want to let Disney parent your children.
Yeah.
Basically.
Why did it go to Disney?
This is so weirdly like 2000s.
Disney owns Marvel. And they licensed those characters out to Netflix to make those shows.
But why did then Netflix built it into something cool, and then Disney was like, just kidding, it's ours. We want it back.
They took it back after the license ended.
Which they chose not to extend.
After the third phase of Marvel movies ended, they've now started to roll all this stuff up into one banner.
Is this like Disney farming out stuff so that like better content creators can
Back
start
then,
it?
yes. Now, no. Now it's all under the Disney umbrella.
But like,
Marvel
what I'm saying is they loaned this license to Netflix, which built a show that people were excited about.
Several
and so
characters.
Now Disney is saying like your audience that you've established for the show is hopefully going to convert to being a Disney audience.
That's what they would hope. Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't buy that I think that the fans who will go over and follow it to Marvel or to Disney will likely already going to watch stuff on Disney Plus anyways. But like if I use myself as my own as the litmus test for somebody who's like cared about the character at a certain point when he was young, enjoyed this series, but knows what Disney is like, I'm not going to follow them over there and expect this to be any good. I don't want to see She-Hulk.
You're not even tempted to give it a try.
I will watch the trailer and make my make my basis from there.
Okay.
But like I said, he's already acknowledged that he would be okay with making a less violent version of this character. But then just do it different, then make it something different. Like it's not going to feel like the same thing. So it's the same character, but if it's a fundamentally less violent version of this character.
Well, is the original show that violent that taking it out would be like a dramatic change?
It's not just the violence; it's the tone of the show is dramatically darker than almost everything Marvel has ever made. Anyways, in fact, probably is darker than everything Marvel has made. Somebody could fact check me on what they think would have been a harsher version in the Marvel universe. But those shows were not meant for kids; they were darker story. It was a darker form of storytelling. Drugs, abuse. Things like that. The Jessica Jones show came up to a lot to do with the concept of consent because the character of the Purple Man had the ability to control you with his mind. Stuff like that were all themes that were darker and more adult in nature, and I don't want to see done on Disney. I just don't care. Like that's just me, but I have a feeling that most people will probably disagree with me because they're just happy to see the character come back because Matt Murdock is so good as Charlie Cox is so good as Matt Murdock in Daredevil that they're just happy to see him back, but I'm just not. So that's my take on it. I apologize for that rant. Oh, and then we do have our own like mini version of like Who the Hell Asked for This, and that's an Ocean's 11 prequel with Margot Robbie in it. The saving grace being that Margot Robbie is fantastic, but nobody wants to see a Ocean's 11 prequel.
What did you say she was of women? The Tom Cruise of women. At
She's
this
the most
time?
bankable.
I just didn't understand that comment.
She's the most bankable
Because you're
female.
too young for Tom Cruise to be a relevant reference in your life.
She is the most bankable female star right now, in my opinion, in Hollywood.
You think so?
I
Maybe
feel like
Anya
that's-
Taylor-Joy is up there too.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
she's
like,
doing pretty well.
but
I think Margot Robbie has done a little bit more. Like I think she's even a little bit more established than her.
I'm really excited for the Barbie movie. I really
I think
am.
it's a 1980s Barbie. Did you
But
see
people were talking about how like there are going to be multiple versions of Ken, and they were complaining about it because they were like, "Is this a multiverse?
Or is
Barbie
this like
movie?
Barbie is having trouble dating and can't find a man? Like let her just be with Ken.
the idea of a multiverse Barbie movie makes me so
The
unhappy.
multiverse of Mattel is what they called it.
The Mattel universe, my God help us.
Multiverse is such a buzzword these days.
Yes.
Like if we just stick it to anything. Say,
So she's starring in an Ocean's 11 prequel with Jay Roach directing. It says details have not been revealed about the story, but it is said to be a prequel that is set in Europe in the 60s, making it unlikely any of the stars from the previous Ocean films would be reprising their roles. Also, they're like 20 years older now, so they wouldn't be able to play a character from that period. So Robbie is also producing in addition to starring in the film, serving as producer alongside Lucky Chap partner Tom Ackerley. She's doing this, and what was the other one we talked about that she's doing the other day? Not just the Barbie movie, there was another
Pirates
one.
of the Caribbean.
She's also doing Pirates of the Caribbean. I guess if there's an actress that has the charisma and I guess the beauty to do something like this, these movies, she's it. But I have no interest in seeing.
Well, what if she did that movie, but Johnny Depp was in it?
I mean, I don't really care about Pirates of the Caribbean, anyways. But that's.
But you care about Johnny Depp.
I don't really care
what
about.
if they just do a new movie instead of a sequel to a movie that we've already established?
Thank you.
And they're both
Anna
in it 'cause they're
Claire,
talented.
that's ridiculous.
I know. Let me pitch something I've never.
Thank you.
They support my sequel idea. My anti-sequel stance. The thing is, let me pitch something that I've never pitched before on this show. How about we make new content instead of repeating
I've never heard
former
this
content?
before.
Revolutionary idea, Hannah Claire.
Wow.
Revolutionary.
This is my
idea.
political platform.
So, and before we go, we've got two more. I do want to point out the Johnny Depp thing from. Do you remember the bit about the tissue incident where it seemed like she was
like posed.
she's like posing? This is in
That
my
bit where it seemed like she definitely was doing something she totally was.
this, in my opinion, is why he is a better actor than she is. He has his ring that says truth on it, and he's posing. He's like,
Okay, the thing is, so he has this. He
So
appeared in court.
annoying.
He has this ring that
So
says
annoying.
truth. I want to know if this is like something a fan gave him.
oh
Like
yeah,
if it's an Etsy shop who was like,
Oh.
I drove to the courthouse because like I've seen a couple of videos of him.
His
leaving.
fans are gonna start buying the ring.
Yeah,
and
like
wearing it.
if you leave when he leaves the courthourhouse in his SUV, like there's been a couple videos of him rolling down the window to interact with fans, and they're like giving him stuff. Like, what if this is a gift from a fan? I just
Maybe.
made that up. There's no evidence to prove
he
this.
sets out his own Johnny Depp PO box, like right in Virginia, that he can pick stuff up at
What
for the
if
remainder
Johnny
of the
Depp
trial.
joins YouTube
That
and
would
just
be-
starts like talking about his experience?
That would be fantastic. Make a Johnny Depp. Him and Russell Brand can start a weird YouTube channel
He
together.
doesn't need Russell Brand. He can do it on his own.
I would love to know if internet sleuths could figure out whether he was wearing this ring before all this
Where
happened.
did this ring? No, I want to know where this came from. I want to know. My ideal scenario is that it's an Etsy shop product that the person is in Virginia and drove to the courthouse and was like, "I'm with you, Johnny."
Yes. And before we go, we have the.
We've got something lighthearted for you.
I don't know if lighthearted is not the word for it. Tasteless is
JK.
kind of tasteless is the word for it. Rihanna fans blast Chris Brown after congratulating her on the birth of her child. If anybody remembers, something very bad happened between Chris Brown.
What was it, 2009?
It was about that time, and there's a photo of her post that incident. Do you remember
Can
this?
you not say what it was?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm supposed to. He beat the crap out of Rihanna.
Yeah.
He beat the
There
crap
was a
out of
domestic
Rihanna.
violence incident.
And so fans are displeased with the fact that he's just like, hey,
Good job, X.
Yeah.
You had a baby.
So it says the Barbadian.
It's just like, what was the point of even commenting on it?
He just wants to be weird.
I don't understand.
So it says the Barbadian singer has reportedly given birth to her first child with rapper A$AP Rocky earlier this week, and her former flame Chris took to they call him Chris, they don't call him Chris Brown. Chris Brown took to social media to seemingly send her a message of goodwill. You know, I'm sure that they have reconciled, I guess, because it said like they tried to get back together in 2013, so maybe they ended amicably. But it does show to you like when you end up in the public sphere and something like this happens, people are going to call it out because it's just really weird.
Ooh,
like
someone tweeted apparently like the problem with Chris Brown congratulating Ree is that he's never shown that energy with his own children's mother.
oof, ouch.
Damn.
I don't know if that's true, but
What's funny
It's not
to me
great.
about this is that like Chris Brown is just never gonna be canceled.
He's uncancelable.
He's
But he did-
uncancelable because people just like his music that much.
yeah, he's never been canceled. Although, like, I do think he doesn't have the same public profile that Rihanna does. And remember
Really?
when? Yeah, I think she's like.
Oh,
got
yeah,
more-
He's
she's
still
a-
like consistently putting out huge
but like
songs.
she also has like the Instagram following and like she
her business.
yeah, she's sort of like, it's not that he like got canceled by any means, but like her image continued to blow up because I remember when this happened, they were sort of a Hollywood it couple. Like they were like young and I don't know, talented and
It says that
hanging
she believes that they believe she'd put the past behind them because she responded with a complimentary message on his Instagram story in the wake of news of that Rihanna had given birth. So posting a praying hands and red hearts emoji together, he wrote "Congratulations," following a pregnant woman emoji underneath that. So I thought they were saying that she responded. So what he's saying is he put the past behind them. I don't know if she has put the past behind
I feel
them.
like
certainly
in
hope
this
not.
case, it's sort of on her to put the past. behind
Yes. So
It is weird that he did it indirectly like that.
Yep.
I don't.
It's hard not
understand.
to
Maybe
see-
it was just a random person that he knew that he wanted to say congratulations in a subliminal message.
I feel like it's hard not to look at this as like an attempt to like get back in the spotlight, like to sort of coattail off Rihanna because she's gotten a lot of attention for her pregnancy, and then the father of her baby got like arrested recently, and then also all of her pregnancy fashion. Like, she's sort of, not that she's ever completely out of the spotlight, but she's particularly well followed right now.
So one person wrote, Chris Brown has absolutely no business congratulating our queen Riri on her baby's birth. You have no right referring to her as your queen, you weirdo. And another wrote, Chris Brown subliminally telling Rihanna congratulations on IG is top tier toxicity. I do wonder if what they want him to say is like, and don't come around here with your baby or else something bad's going to happen. Is that what you think is going to happen?
What they want is for him to just shut up.
Like-
That's the thing. I don't understand why he has to comment on it. Like,
yeah, I don't get that either.
you
It
guys
is
have
weird.
a very
But
publicly.
Let's not deny that it's weird.
It's super weird.
We are not privy to their whatever interactions they have not online, right? So for
I
all
would
we
be
know,
worried if they did
It's
have
still weird,
interactions
right?
at this point.
like from a public
It's weird.
relations standpoint, it's weird. But like I said, maybe they have maybe they reconciled and she's like forgave him. She probably shouldn't have,
I
but
guess
that's she's got.
if they're on speaking terms, then why would he not say it privately?
Yeah.
then?
yeah, why wouldn't he say it
They're
to her
not.
in a private message?
Like, he's only
It's
saying it
just
publicly
odd.
to get a reaction out of her fans. It feels.
Then he's just a genius marketer
and
with
a
a bad
jerk.
streak and a jerk. That's what he is. It says a third person tweeted the problem with Chris Brown congratulating Ree is that he's never shown the energy with his own children's mothers. That's brutal.
mothers, so he's got a couple of them, as it turns out.
Well, also, who's the one that just got the vasectomy appointment because he doesn't want to have more kids? Nick
What?
Cannon, I
Maybe
think.
He
he's
did?
got a
Oh.
ton.
Yeah, I think they said like he's like I don't want to repopulate the world single-handedly, so I'm gonna look into getting a vasectomy. On top of the many awful things he said in his lifetime, but we will not talk about that
This
here.
is a classless episode.
Not all of it. Some of it, definitely a little bit, but it happens. So that was I thought that.
Would you congratulate your ex if she had a baby in a weird way on Instagram?
Well, I have never hit anyone, so I don't know if
That's
that's
true.
That'd
so
be a different situation.
would be a
But
very
even
different
then,
situation.
Like, I think even if you don't have a violent past with someone, if you're on speaking terms, like Mary said, like text them privately. But like, it does seem a little weird that anyone's ex would be like, I'm going to take this moment on my public social media platform to congratulate someone I am no longer dating on their child, right?
Yep.
Like, then given that they have like a really horrible relationship or at least horrible past, like, seems like anyone could have been like, probably not the time to insert yourself into this situation, Chris.
He probably could have thought better about it. Yes. Were there any super chats?
We had just gotten another one from Shriver that had no message, but nonetheless,
He just
thank
continued the vibe.
Trevor, is this for
Yeah.
my research fund? I just need to know.
Also, this isn't a super chat, but I just wanted to read it because it made me laugh. Slice of Lime said, Amber Heard is a goddess. Amber can do no wrong. I don't know about that one, Chief, but
Counterculture at
you
its
know what?
finest.
Express
Whoa.
yourself.
We've
Express
got
your
a-
opinion freely.
This
Someone's
is
sowing seeds of dissent.
This is
for
a
the
safe
comment.
space for Amber sympathy.
Is it? Are we? Are we
I've
doing that?
declared that.
I'm
I don't
still-
sympathize with her, but I don't sympathize with Johnny. So
Look, I love having diverse opinions. I never want to be stuck in an echo chamber. That being said, I disagree profoundly.
Yep. So I think there was one more in there.
there was a super chat.
Yeah, one more at the bottom.
Oh, I see it. Carnell said, "Greetings, PCC crew. Longtime listener, first time super chat. Just wanted to say congrats on your first week of live streaming. Looking forward to watching the show grow and keeping me entertained." Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's so nice. Oh my god.
It's so positive. I was expecting
so,
like
like-
when we started getting super chats, maybe people would start like trolling us and saying like negative shit to us. But like it hasn't happened
Mary
so far.
secretly hoped that that's what would happen because
They're more entertaining. I won't lie. Like I do find hate comments hilarious.
Mary told me once. She goes, "The hate comments bring me life." That was an
They're
actual
hilarious.
quote.
Like, do you not agree?
No.
I
Honestly, though, guys, congratulations. 1 week down.
Thanks.
yes.
I'm not normally.
And nothing catastrophic happened. Can
Yeah.
you believe it?
It's funny because when we recorded previously, we recorded it before, and so my episode came out on Friday. But like, it threw me off this week on Thursday when I didn't come up to record with you guys because
Yeah.
you know.
It's your routine.
Closing it. I know.
It felt weird. I woke up today. I'm like, usually today's my day off, and I'm like, still got to work. And I'm
gotta
still. Carnell, thank you. We are looking forward to doing a lot more entertaining as we get more comfortable doing this. It is. I can't explain how different it feels to go live as opposed to recording it, even though we're recording it in the same way. Like the YouTube segments were just segmented like the way we do it here. It's all cut up and everything, but we still recorded it all as one shot.
Yeah.
But it's a very different feeling to kind of know that if you screw up that badly, you got to just eat it
roll.
and
Also,
just
by the way, thank you for 25K.
yes.
No
Oh
way.
yes.
New
Congratulations.
milestone.
That's I forgot about that one as well. Yes, we just hit 25K today, just like a couple hours ago.
Cool. I will say, this does feel. I mean, I think we've been doing this together. It's about 123 episodes. We've all
Yeah.
been doing it for a long time at this point. It's fun to hear the super chats. I honestly love the money guns. I love that you guys can interact and we can see that you guys are like alive and well with us. I think that's such a cool feature, and I hope
You're not bots.
No, and I think it's
This
fun.
is not the dead internet here.
Yeah,
I'm,
this
like,
is the
really
alive
hoping-
internet.
And I know you guys have
Internet.
talked about, like, I hope there are a couple. Oh, hello.
thanks.
There are a couple more ways we can expand and have like ways for people to interact with us, because I think like it's so cool to have like this audience and community.
And I think we're going to be doing more. Like there's going to be new lights and everything. We are going to be expanding everything as far as the interactive process. It's going to get crazier and more fun, I think, as it goes. My hair will eventually stand on end from stress.
Brett hates change, so every time any of us are like, but you know what would be cool, and then we hand it over to Chris Poole, who like doubles it. Like if you say like I want to do something crazy, he's like yes, but twice as crazy. So I feel like Brett will have a panic attack. Oh, hello! At some point.
The panic attacks have likely already happened. I've just hidden it very, very well. but
So what do they call them? Like absent seizures? You're having like absent panic.
that's basically it. That's basically it. So like for me, it's just to have the first week. One of the things about it is like there's ups and downs to this process where like you can't attach like all your hopes and dreams and everything to every episode, and I'm very critical of my own work, of how I talk, how I'm able to get my points across, all while trying to do all of this and not come off really ridiculous.
Quote Chris Kardashian, "You're doing great, sweetie."
Oh, thank you for that. But before we go, I think there was a couple more there. We'll read those and then we will call it a day so Hannah Claire can get back to work.
Yes. Brad Vitali, I believe, said thanks for your show. Thank you.
Thank you. $20. Thank you very much,
That's a
Brad.
lot.
That means
Thank
a
you.
lot.
Waffles Sensei said, "Pop the like button, everybody!" Woot woot.
That's true.
I gotta get
Every
better.
last one of you better be hitting that like.
It has to
button.
do something with the algorithm.
Smash that like button.
I got to get better at the whole YouTube promotion thing. The thing is, though, no, that's like one of those things that people make fun of. where they're
As like a form of punctuation, you'd be like and subscribe.
Yeah.
like everyone makes fun of the people who are like the videos, smash the like button,
think-
leave comments.
What if we play like a secret game where like everyone who comes on has like one YouTube promotion they have to work in?
We
so
should
at
do
some
that.
point during the show, they don't know who and it'll change, but like one of us has to say like, go ahead and like the button. Is that what
Hit
you
the like button.
button.
You are not going to be the one saying hit the like button.
Like
as
the
we-
hit button.
But you know what I mean? Someone else has to be like has to work in a like please subscribe call and like we'll just switch it every time. You don't know when it's coming.
Oh, thank you. There's more.
There's one more.
I like anything where we can make it a game, and I think that's my favorite part about going live with this. Like it just feels like a game even more than ever.
Caper2X says, "Can we hope for a dunking take for Hannah Claire?"
What is this? Wait, I oppose this idea.
I am so bad at this that I
Also,
was like,
can I explain to you guys that we have a lot of electrical equipment? So like, I suspect no, but like, I'm a good sport. Maybe something else.
okay, I'm gonna read the last. By the way, I'm so clueless that I read HC. I'm like, what does HC mean?
I appreciate the abbreviation of my name. I like having both letters represented.
I will read the last one
Okay,
before we go.
go.
It says.
He's doing this. He has a horrible grin on his face right now.
Petition to change PCC fanbase name from Crisis Actors to Live Internet. It will always be Crisis Actors, my
How about
friends.
undead internet?
We could be maybe Crisis Actors on the Live Internet. We'll have to find a way to abbreviate
Maybe when
the
something
two.
happens, like a trend online happens that we like, we'll call it a live internet section.
I have yet
Segment.
to.
Oh my gosh.
I have yet to do a thing where I'm like, "What's up, Crisis Actors?" Because it just feels.
What's up, Crisis
That's one of the
Actors? I'd
things-
be better at that one.
Yes.
That's one of the things that goes into our rotating game of things you have to say. Someone has to
I
drop
love something
crisis
kitschy
actor.
like that.
So, guys, again, thank you so much. And Hannah Claire, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on social media, since everyone's being so nice today?
Yeah, guys, thanks for joining us. You can find me on Instagram at hannahclaire.b. You can find me on Gab at hannahclaireb. You can find me on Twitter at hcbrimolo. And you can find me, of course, on timcast.com. Click on the read tab.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much and congratulations.
It's
Thank you.
it's crazy to think that the first week is over already. My goodness.
Yeah.
Mary, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram and WeChat at Closer Kitty. And I also post articles on the Timcast website sometimes. I promote them on Instagram.
All right. Guys, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at Brett Dasovic. And the show now being live Monday through Friday on YouTube, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's noon if you're in California. You can watch us on your lunch break. We are also on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify, all of which ways you can listen to the show if you do not choose to watch. Though I don't know why you wouldn't want to watch. It is so much more fun.
They're so beautiful.
Yes. And we are not just that. We are also on social media. We are on Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis. We are on Twitter at popculture_show. And we are also on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. I did them all out of order today and I didn't screw up one. Must be the weekend. I am excited. We will be back with another episode Monday. We'll see you then, guys. Bye.
Bye.